Hello again, and welcome back to my podcast. Thanks very much for being here. Today, I'm going to talk about the gut-brain connection, and how that affects us, and how it might affect your health, and also how we can support it, including how we can support the vagus nerve. So, before I get started, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And please feel free to make some comments and make some suggestions about anything else you'd like me to talk about or for how long. And also, please like and share because it really does help YouTube to share things further for me, which helps me grow. So the gut-brain connection, actually, I think lots of people are becoming a little bit more familiar with that phrase now, recently, and also with understanding about the vagus nerve. And there's lots of chat on social media about that as well. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about it, maybe clear up any misunderstandings and things. So, of course, as you're probably, if you're interested in well-being and that's why you're here, you probably realize that everything is all connected, and the brain communicates with a lot of the organs, of course, the whole body. But the gut-brain connection is particularly talked about because, of course, gut health, we know, influences nearly all health, including mental health. We know that there can be a strong link between anxiety and low mood and gut health. And we also know that our thoughts turn to emotions, and our emotions then make the brain produce chemicals or that release stress hormones around the body. So we know from personal experience, if you think about something, maybe you're nervous about something, you've got an exam, a job interview, or something like that coming up, straight away you think that thought. The thought turns to sort of a fear or a worry, and then you might feel it in your stomach. You might feel it like butterflies. You might also find that you feel like that about excitement as well. It's really, really similar. The same hormones are being produced. You might even feel, if you have a shock, something like that, you might need to rush to the loo. You might even feel sick. And this is an example, an illustration of exactly how the gut and the brain are communicating. And they're communicating in two different directions. It's not just the brain always communicating to the gut also communicates to the brain. You might have heard of some neurotransmitters, which were some of the brain chemicals, some of the calming, happy ones called serotonin. And serotonin is mostly made in the gut, and it's it's sort of conveyed to the brain via the vagus nerve. So the gut and the brain communicate by nerves and electrical signals and chemicals and hormones and through the nervous system, in a very clever, sophisticated way. So yeah, backwards and forwards. So, some of these really important brain chemicals are like produced actually in the gut, which is why we need good gut health for good mental health, and conveyed through the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve, as you might have heard of the vagus nerve, and it's really a complex of nerves that integrate through the whole of the um, from the brain right through the body, and definitely integrate into the digestive system. So this is one of the reasons why I trained in hypnotherapy, because I was specializing in IBS as a nutritional therapist. And of course, this gut brain connection is so relevant, and we really do need to support the nervous system as that kind of missing piece when we're supporting our gut health. So, if you're interested in gut health, which you might be if you're watching this, then supporting the nervous system is going to be a common theme that comes up. So, you might have heard lots of talk about the vagus nerve, and we must stimulate the vagus nerve, and we must do this and that for the vagus nerve. And of course, it's not as easy as switching on a switch or switching off a switch of like, oh, we'll just do this exercise and then that's kind of cures my vagus nerve or whatever. It's all about supporting that vagus nerve in multiple ways, and not overly stimulating it, but just supporting it, helping it communicate more effectively. And this can be done through foundational pieces like good diet, exercise, eating at regular intervals, making sure you've got all the nutrients needed for neurotransmitters, and supporting the nervous system. And there are also specific things you can do, particularly for the vagus nerve, which I'll talk about in a moment. So, yeah, so gut and the brain always communicating through the nerves, through chemicals, through electricity going through. And it's really important that we have the nutrition, and the nervous system needs to be well adapted. So whether or not you like the word adapted, it's really what I'm saying is the nervous system has to have an appropriate response to what's going on. So it doesn't want to be constantly hypervigilant and constantly in a sense of a state of anxiety, because as you might know from experience, this is going to upset the nervous system and the digestive system. And what that can do, what it can look like is it can look like food intolerance. It can look like hypersensitivity in the gut. It can look like bloating, or it can look like a really slowed down digestive system where you're maybe a bit constipated and not going very often, or a very sped up transit time where you're going more regularly or it's looser than you want it to be. So this is really important, why we need this nervous system and digestive system to be working together. And sort of further down, the consequences of that are that the gut influence our wider health, like I've said before, our immune system. It can influence our energy production. It can influence our mental health, our mood, and our anxiety. It influences everything, including our skin. So there are links with the gut and the brain that affect the whole body, which is why it's good to take a holistic approach. So obviously, I will be sort of touching on things that I've mentioned before about generally making sure that you do support the nervous system so that you have a healthy reaction, because it will help with digestion and so on. But I would like to talk a little bit about how you can help the vagus nerve specifically. So there are different exercises or techniques and things you can do that can be helpful for your vagus nerve, which in turn can really help this connection, a healthy connection between the gut and the brain. And it's just about finding something that it's suitable for you and something you enjoy. And you might think, oh, how do I know if my vagus nerve needs supporting? And actually, that's a really good question. And I think partly it is to do with, how is my digestion? Is it normal? How is my mental health? And it's a good place to start. And it's certainly not invasive. Shouldn't really need to cost any money. Um, so it's worth just giving this, like this can be just one of the many things that you might try in terms of supporting your wider health. So some of my favorite exercises then for the vagus nerve are, so breath work is a good one, particularly diaphragmatic breath, which I've demonstrated in videos before, and you can go to some of my playlists on breath work and have a look at that, or for calming and relaxation tools. Basically, that diaphragmatic breath, you can look at other people doing it as well on YouTube. It's really where it's a bit like a belly breath. It's not exactly the same as a belly breath, but in simple terms, it's a bit like that. So basically making sure that you're sat comfortably or lying down or even standing up, and you've got the space to allow your rib cage to expand, but you're sending your breath and your attention down to the tummy area, right down to your belly. And that can really help with training the diaphragm and helping those muscles there, and helping that but it also helps with the nervous system as well. So it does quite a few different things. So that's a nice one if you like breath work. One that's particularly good for like giving good tone. People talk about having good tone on their nervous system, their vagus nerve, and helping the communication is humming. And actually, you can buy devices. Actually, there's one called Sensate, which I have. I think I've got. Have I got a discount code for one? But I've got the device myself. You might have got one yourself. It's like a sort of pebble shaped electric device that links to an app, and you basically sort of put it around here, and it like vibrates, and then you listen to. There's some nice relaxation music and things like that. So there's probably other available as well, gadgets like that. But if we don't want a gadget, we just want to use our own bodies, humming is one of the next, but humming and singing is one of the next best things to do, because you're causing that vibration yourself. And also humming and singing can really help to elevate the mood by producing feel good hormones as well. So it can really help anyway with the tone of this vagus nerve. So that's a nice one, and it can be really easily integrated into your day, and it's free. Cold water therapy. You've probably heard of the Wim Hof method and this trend now for going in cold water and all the rest of it. You don't have to do that, actually, and you can if you want to. I suggest you, start these things gently and find out about them properly before you do them. But cold water, I've talked about it before, but just splashing your face or even putting a cold flannel on your face can be really helpful for getting the body to start to feel safe again. It sounds funny because it sounds like something that wouldn't make you feel safe, but it's another one that can be really helpful for the vagus nerve. Um, and then maybe, I mean, there are lots of others, but just for the sake of time, I just talk about, just maybe just the co-regulation of being with somebody who makes you feel safe. So being around people that make you feel safe and supported, being in nature, those sort of usual things that support your nervous system in general. So that's just a very quick whistle-stop tour of the vagus nerve and the gut-brain connection and how it might be relevant to you. So have a little think about, is there an exercise there that you might like to bring into your everyday, and give it a go and see if it does support your digestion if you are somebody that is struggling with digestive issues. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Please like and share, and I'll see you at the next one. Thanks.